Namaste, welcome back everyone. It is an absolute pleasure to have on once again Jørgen Lysglimt Johansen, who is joining us from Norway with his talk entitled Connecting with the Ancient Through Contemplation of Inherited Words and Language.
Wonderful. Namaste. Namaste, everyone. It's such a great pleasure and such a wonderful thing to connect with the entire constituency of the Institute and the Society. It's a great honor, and it's such a privilege to know that we are many and that we are growing, and that it's possible to organize such a thing as this conference and to come together around the truth, to come together around Sanatana Dharma. I cannot express enough how grateful I am for this and for the great honor it is to be invited to join in and to give a contribution to the conference. I would like to start with just the sort of wording, the chant that I do myself every day, that sort of I've developed by putting together different things from Prabhupada, from the Bhagavad Gita, from Acharya. I've developed this, and I usually do it 4 times, but I will only do it 1 time here now, but I usually repeat every part of this 4 times. And it goes like this. It's kind of, I will relate to this later, and it's an example of what I do to connect to the ancient times. So I will explain a bit of that later. But it goes like this. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Till Odin, Stad Odin. Hill Votanas, Sad Votanas, Jai Shiva Jai, Kra, 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 Kra. Have no fear. Fight, Hans, fight. And then again, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This is literally the chant that I do myself every day. And I usually do it. I'm down here by the ocean where I usually go to meditate. I'm in my special meditation place right now. And I meditate around this. So it was such a great pleasure to join the conference 2 years ago, when we talked about the movement, the rise of Sanatana Dharma, how to connect Sanatana Dharma to the ancient culture that we also are. I mean, the European culture, Northern European culture, sort of Germanic in the extension, English-speaking world that I am part of here in Norway, and you are part of in the United States as an extension of England and United Kingdom, and then the sort of push to America as the new world. We are Vedic in our core, and it was so nice to talk about that 2 years ago, and to be invited back now, and then to explore the topic of welcoming the golden age. It's been such an inspiration to think about this for this last few weeks when I've been preparing to say something, because we are on the cusp of something truly amazing now. It is the revival of the golden age, and I've been struggling to sort of daring to believe it, because I'm trained as an economist on multiple different universities in Europe and the United States. And I'm trained to sort of be too realistic, right? So the concept of welcoming a golden age is something that the academic world will not acknowledge, and they will sort of they're afraid of something like that. The Great Awakening is something that they not only are they afraid, but they will fight against it. As this golden age now is coming, the forces against it, the Kali Yuga, the materialistic world, the craziness that we are part of, it will fight against it. So this is what I want to say also today, is to be strong in the faith, to be strong in the belief, and to help the golden age to arrive and to develop, because we are literally the people of the rise of this golden age. So it's happening literally inside us, of who we are and how we think and how we talk and how we use language and how we think about time is literally part of the rise of the golden age that we are part of. And I've been thinking, because the Kali Yuga started 5,100 years ago, and it's going to last for 432,000 years. So we are very, very early in the Kali Yuga for a true golden age to arise. But when you think about it, it is sort of more logical that a golden age would arise close to the beginning of the Kali Yuga, because the treasures of language, the treasures that we have, the Vedic scriptures, that we have someone like Prabhupada, and that we have the society and we have the literature, this is not going to last through the entire Kali Yuga. Everything will be lost during the Kali Yuga. There will be times in these 432,000 years that will be tremendously dark, much, much worse than what we have now. So even though we are in the Kali Yuga, and that is terrible in one sense, this materialistic world, and we see the corruption in politics, we see the lies everywhere, it's still a blessing of sorts to be close enough to another age to be able to have the sort of inherited heirlooms that we have. And what I want to focus on, especially this time, is the language and some of the words of the language, and how we, by thinking and reflecting deeply on these words, can sort of transcend the flattening of these words, how this has happened, how the Kali Yuga has sort of attacked the concepts, the ideas, our feeling of history, our feeling of belonging in a very long cycle, and going around and around like the Vedic idea of time. It's been stripped away from us by all these modernistic things. In our world now, we have modern Christianity, we have Islam, we have Judaism, we have, and in a sense, thinking about the madness of the world, and thinking about extreme radical Christianity, radical Islam, all that. In later years, I've become a little bit more forgiving at these phenomena, because that kind of craziness really is what you kind of have to expect in the Kali Yuga. So, I used to think of Christianity and Islam as a problem in itself. But now I realize that it's just an aspect of the Kali Yuga. But what can you expect? Are you expecting the the world foremost religions to be dharmic in this craziness. We hope and we work now for a dharmic revival in this golden age within the Kali Yuga. But to just see that there are many other forces that are not dharmic, this is what to be expected in the Kali Yuga. So that allows us, think about Christianity, for example. It's just 2,000 years old, and Islam is even less than that. It's less than 2,000 years old. In a larger time, in a longer time perspective, these are very recent things, very recent developments. But one of the tricks that these Abrahamic religions have done to our Western society is to manipulate our ability to think of time and think of ourselves in a longer time sequence. So Christianity is almost like it's locking in our feeling of time into their, I mean, specifically, we start our count of time now with the birth of this Jesus Christ figure. That is supposed to be year one. And that alone says something about everything from before that not being so important. So, like, if we take the Greek world, that I think is the closest we get to our Germanic heritage, I think of English also, and in an extent of that, America as a Germanic cultural expression, both the language and the culture. And our sort of, the closest we get to the dharmic origins of our own culture there is the Greek culture that is so well preserved in literature and all that. And if we remember that Greek culture flourished 2,500 years ago, that's like halfway to when the last yuga ended and this Kali Yuga begun. So, you know, in ancient Greece, they were about as close to the previous yugas, a different time, that we are to them now. And it's not that long, really. So one of the things that I'm very fascinated about, along with history and this working, meditating on time and history, is etymology and the origin of words and our language. And our language has roots in Greece, and further going back, that has roots going back to Sanskrit as being the very origin. So what I work on and what I think is necessary for us all to welcome the golden age is it's hard to transport yourself mentally to a time before the Kali Yuga, to a different time. We realize that the Kali Yuga is flattening and it's doing something to us, but it's difficult to transport ourselves 10,000, 15,000 years back. But you can do it by intermediary steps. And that's what I wanted to say that my meditation and my chant is kind of doing. Because I live now in this Christian or maybe post-Christian world that we all live in. But I know from literature, the god that sort of appeals the most to me is Odin. I feel connected to Odin. But I also realize that Odin and the Norse gods are the way we have inherited it through literature is also sort of, it's come about in the Kali Yuga. So it's a kind of it's a kind of a result of the kind of Kali Yuga as well. So I say Hill Odin, that transports me 1,000 years back instantly from our age now to the time when Odin was worshipped right here where I am now, 1,500 years maybe. Then I go to, I say Hill Wotanas. Wotanas is the Proto-European linguistic form of Odin, Wotan. And that transports me instantly another maybe 1,500 years, 3,000 years back into time. And then I do Jai Shiva Jai, that sort of throws me another 1,000 years or so. And then I end with Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. And then, swoop, I'm back. I'm back like steps 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm back into another time. And I think it's that kind of energy, that kind of thinking, that kind of, we must reconnect in order to live and manifest the new golden age that is arriving. And when you think about linguistically our language, when you think about the concepts that we use every day today, what has really given me a lot of hope and faith and positivity is to think that the concepts that we use, words like friend, like thank you, like grace, even mundane words like yes and no, have their origin in deep history that goes back further back than the Kali Yuga. So these are heirlooms, these are treasures that we have inherited. And by meditating on these words, we can take back their true meaning. We can start to gain an understanding of these concepts in our own language, in our own mother tongue, which for me is Norwegian, English, for most people in the United States, English. These inherited words are sacred in their original meaning, but the Kali Yuga has flattened it. Let me take a few examples. Let's take the word friend. Friend. In ancient Norse, the word was frender, a friend. And if you had a friender, a real friender, that was the closest concept maybe would be something like a blood brother. That there are stories in the Norse where you would share and you would cut yourself and you would share blood with one of your soldier friends in the Chhatria kind of society, Chhatriatic society. It's a word I use, and I think it's kind of a new word, a Chhatriatic society that this society is. If you had one friend, you were rich. If you had two friends, wow. If you had three, very few had more than that. And today we all have like thousands of friends on the social media. So the word friender, which used to mean something hugely important, spiritually, relationship-wise, it's been flattened to just just an acquaintance and a friend is today synonymous. It would not have been synonymous 1,500 years ago. Just someone you knew and someone who was your friender was very, very, very different. But this flattening goes on. And take a word like in the Latin languages, a word like gracias, like you say in Spain or Mexico, gracias, when whenever you receive something. You say gracias, and today it's just thank you. It doesn't really go any deeper than that. But the word is more than 5,100 years ago. It goes back into deep history, into a time where, you know, if someone gave you something and you said gracias, it was a deep connection to the spiritual. It was the English word grace has still some of that, a little bit of that energy. So you would, it's so difficult to understand how the ancient man pre the Kali Yuga, how we were spiritually connected, how we were spiritually. The spirit is everywhere, and it's been our ability to know it and to own it. It's been robbed away from us by this materialistic modern culture. But the words are there, and they still carry this meaning, even in our own native mother tongues. And we have to, like, when you really meditate on it, you can start to feel it. You can start to develop the feeling. Even totally mundane words like yes and no used to be like spiritually charged, extremely important words that carried something. Today, it's like, is it a yes? Is it really a yes? Or is it a yes, whatever? Or a no? Is it really a no? Or is it a no, whatever? Yes, no. But think of a time when a yes really meant a yes and a no really meant a no. It's hard to even grasp, because this modernity, this flattened modernity has become such a part of us that we really have to consciously think hard and meditate in order to be able to reclaim the words, reclaim our words, reclaim history, reclaim our history, to see ourselves as part of this. And I think this is necessary for us to manifest this golden age. You know, the golden age that we will have now, that we are entering, that we are welcoming, it is a golden age within the Kali Yuga. So it's still the Kali Yuga. The materialistic and the flattening, I think, is something we will have to live with. It's not like everything of that will be changed. It's like a golden age within these things. So just the fact, for example, that we are gathering now and we're using this materialistic technology, like these communication tools, it is a way to manifest the golden age with and within the realities of the Kali Yuga. So we have these amazing tools, we have this amazing ability to use these tools. And just the fact that, you know, when the golden age comes about, there will be signs. And one sign is just the fact that we are talking now and using technology like this. Another fact is that we now have the totality of the Vedic scriptures in our pockets, all of us, on our mobile phone. And we can even, with AI, talk to someone who can extract it for us and sort of I think of myself and as a modern man in the modern world and how shallow I am. And that's, I think I'm too old for that to change. But with the technology, I can now access the Vedic scriptures in sort of my own shallowness. I can ask my shallow questions and get feedback and develop some depth. I will never be able to read a fraction of the Vedic scriptures, but I can sort of get an idea through these technological tools. So I think that is the challenge that we have now, is to welcome the golden age, reconnect, and sort of accept the Kali Yuga for what it is and where we are now in the Kali Yuga, and try to use, I mean, not only do we have these technological tools, but it is a fact in the Western world that there is food in the stores. We are living fairly long lives, and the materialistic world is also providing in its own way. So I think this golden age, the materialistic sort of underlayer there, is something we need to appreciate and value. But our challenge is to build the spiritual connection sort of on top of that. It's a different situation from the ancients that maybe didn't have technology, of course, but they had a more connection. But we will have to do it through the tools of the modern world in the Kali Yuga. It's extremely fascinating, and it could hardly be more exciting to be in this age at the rise of the golden age now. I think we've seen golden ages, small golden ages before, like in the 19th century, there was a golden age for art. I mean, definitely, we even talk about it here in Scandinavia, and the Danish and the Norwegian art world, the golden age in the 19th century, because they were so much more connected to the spiritual and the principles of good art than what we are now. It was a golden age that maybe lasted 30, 40 years, and then it disappeared with the First World War. And also there was, in political science, there was a golden age in the 18th century, the late 1700s, when, for example, in your great country, your constitution and the Bill of Rights were written. And it's obvious to anyone in politics like me that that was a golden age of political thought. Much, much more than anything today, which is thoroughly corrupted, and where all these great ideas have been abused. So the golden age that we are welcoming is, I don't think we've seen anything like it before. And it's partly up to us to make that golden age. We are the people that will create that golden age. And it's a huge responsibility on us. Partly it is something cosmic. The ages, they change. So it's partly bigger than us and outside us, and it transcends us. But at the same time, we are part of it. We are it. We are living it. And what is our role there? What do we teach our children? What do we, how do we try to influence society? How do we try to influence the leaders of the world? I've thrown myself into politics and doing these things, and I've gotten a lot of pushback from the Kali Yuga and the craziness out there, all the institutions that protect the prevailing system and all that. But just having faith and pushing forward with knowledge that the world as we see it now, the perversion, the extreme ideologies, that they are not as strong as they pretend. They are not as written in stone as they like to be perceived. The legal system, the laws, the spiritual traditions, so-called spiritual traditions, Christianity, Islam, it's not as, it doesn't have to be that way. It can be a different way. And we have a solution. We have the history. We have the Vedic scriptures, and we have our own history that we can reconnect to. And once we do that, it's much stronger than this scaffolding that the modern world has created. Scaffolding of ideologies, of modernity, of the crazy laws now, crazy politics, crazy media. What we have is bigger, better, stronger. So it's not like we have to invent something or win over by being smarter or faster or anything than this. We just have to have faith that what we have is better, deeper, and it's actually our own. It's actually who we are. It's actually tying to something more real, more true than what we're presented from society in this Kali Yuga. Think about that. Think of us being here when the golden age arises, to be part of that, to develop that, to be among the first, to give this to the rest of the world, to give this to the children. It's an honor and privilege that's hard, really hard to describe, hard to imagine. And we, as part of the Vedic movement, Sanatana Dharma movement, the Dharmic movement, not only have faith, not only not fear, but to fight for this, to fight. That's why in my chant, I end with fight, Hans, fight. My name is Hans. And this obviously is taken from the Bhagavad Gita, when Krishna says to Arjun to fight. Even though Arjun has doubts, even though Arjun sees his relatives on the field, that he will need to hurt and maybe kill his loved ones, I tell myself to fight. And it does something to you when you say it again and again and again. And then before I tell myself to fight, I tell myself, have no fear, have no fear. This is the quote from the Bhagavad Gita that Acharya likes to end with. And I was actually trying for a while to end my meditation with that as well, have no fear. But after trying out some combinations, I landed with having that as the next last one. So I do the have no fear, and then I tell myself, fight, Hans, fight. So for me, doing that chant again and again and again is a manifestation of the things I'm talking about now. So it's an example of what you can do. You can make sort of your own chain, your own chant, your own manifestation, where you put in the things that are important to you. You can try out some different variations. And once you've said that to yourself hundreds of times, thousands of times, it kind of does something to you in a strange way I cannot describe. But you can kind of program yourself through these means, and by carefully selecting what you work on, you can use that as a tool, and you can use that as strength and leverage to play your part in welcoming the golden age, the new golden age. I will end my presentation by doing my chant one more time, if you will allow me. And Odin might be a demigod. And I realized that my attraction to Odin is kind of like a halfway step towards deeper history and going deeper and deeper. And this was the topic of my presentation last time, 2 years ago, was that once you realize that you go deeper and deeper and deeper, but you eventually arrive at Sanatana Dharma, you arrive at the Vedic literature, you arrive at these eternal truths. So I've had to come to terms with my own, Norway is a Nordic frontier of the world. And 5,000 years ago, the first people that came to Norway were very much Chhatriatic kind of people, strong-built warrior kind of people that could survive here. And the culture that developed and the spirituality that developed was very much Chhatriatic. And that has also influenced a lot how the United Kingdom and how the United States is. It's fundamentally it's Chhatriatic, as I say. Just the obsession we have with cars, in the Western world, and especially in America. What can be more Chhatriatic than cars? The Kshatriya class is obsessed with the wagon and the chariot, and the car, of course, is the modern chariot. So maybe we also have to forgive ourselves a little bit, because it was we went to the north, and you had to be strong built, you had to survive here, you had to sort of lean to a Kshatriya kind of lifestyle, Kshatriya kind of thinking. So we are in this Kali Yuga. We have the Kali Yuga, and we have this fact that we went to the north as Kshatriya mostly and developed our culture here. So we are distanced from, you can say, the first step is to ancient Greece. That was obviously less, it was also a Kshatriya culture, but less so than the sort of very specifically Kshatriya culture here in Northern Europe, and that went on to the United States. So maybe forgive ourselves a little bit for that. in this process of becoming more by connecting to the past. I'm sitting here. It's a beautiful evening. I'll show you. I'll show you what I'm looking at here. This is my private meditation place, so don't tell anyone, will you please? But this is my view. I sit here many times meditating and watching the sunset. It's the evening here in Norway. Of course, in the summer, the sun is up for late in the evening, and you can see Oslo far in the distance there. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Till Odin, sad Odin. Till Votanas, sad Votanas. Jai Shiva, Jai. Kra, 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 kra. Like the crow says 4 times. Have no fear. Fight, Hans. Fight. Namaste, everyone. Thank you very much for being the society. Thank you very much for organizing the conference, for creating the community, for just being there. And it gives me such strength to just know that you are there. I listen to the presentations by Acharya. It gives me so much strength and joy just to know that there are others out there. We're not that many yet, but we're strong, and that strength it grows like rings on the water. As the change comes now, as the new golden age comes about, we will naturally fill that void. We will naturally fill that space because we have what that new golden age wants. Thank you. Namaste.
Acharyaji just wants to say a few words, if that's okay.
Hans, namaste. It is absolutely wonderful seeing your face. Thank you so much for that wonderful, wonderful talk. And if you don't mind, I wanted to just say a few very quick things before we let you go. And starting with this. First of all, as far as forgiving ourselves a little bit, as you said, for being of the Chhatriya spirit in America and other places. We forgive ourselves, and more, we embrace our Kshatriya heritage with pride. So thank you for saying that. And again, before you leave us, just a few very quick things that I want to say, if you don't mind, about you. And I'm going to embarrass you, I'm warning you now, but that's all right. It's necessary embarrassment. For people who don't know, Hans is many things. Number one, first and foremost, he is a Vaishnava. He is a devotee. He is, to say he is a spiritual person is putting it lightly. Spirituality is at the very center, truly, of his being. And I think you know me by now. I don't use my words lightly. He is truly and authentically spiritual individual. He is someone who has had an amazing history. I hope at some point either you'll write your autobiography or somebody will write your biography so that people will know about you and about your life. But the other thing I want to say is this. As people know, in the latest manifestation, especially of Hans's life, oh yes, he is a quote-unquote politician. You know, politician has a bad word, so I'm just using it as a little starting point. He is a politician. He has his own political party in Norway. He has a movement in Norway. It is a movement that is built upon purity and truth and justice. But more than this, I've spoken about this in the Dharma Manifesto, Principles of Perfect Leadership, Interregnum, in so many of my books. How do you know the true leader of a people? And indeed, there are multiple, actually thousands of peoples, of nations really in our world. How do you know when an individual is a true leader of his people? He is the personification of the very spirit, of the very essence of his people. That's how you know. It's not just, oh yes, I'm idealistic. Oh, it's not, oh yes, I have some good ideas. Hans is all of that and infinitely more. But more, how you know that he is a leader of the Norwegian people is he truly is the personification of their spirit. You can see that in how he speaks. You can see that again if you know about his life, what he has been doing in recent years. You know this by his activities. You know this by the sacrifices that he has made. Like our president in America, who has made multiple sacrifices, personal sacrifices in the last 10 years. Hans is the same way. He has made sacrifices for his people. And more, Hans is indeed destined politically to be the leader of his people and to be recognized as such. Whether that happens in a few short years, 1, 2 years, whether it's 5 years, whatever it is, it does not matter. You see, we understand that time is an illusion. In time, Hans is going to be the leader of Norway. And he will be, and again, take my word seriously, he will be a Chakravartin. He is a Kshatriya, and he is also a Brahmana. He is someone who has perfect leadership capabilities, but he is, again, also a Vaishnava first and foremost. So, Hans, we wish you all good fortune and success in everything that you do. As you tell everyone else, as you tell us, as you tell your people in Norway, I am now going to tell you, because you also, even a leader, needs to hear this once in a while. Do not ever give up. Remain strong, and you also do not fear. You are destined to lead your people. And with that, again, Hans, I thank you so much for being here with us, sharing your words of wisdom with us at this 12th annual International Sanatana Dharma Conference. One more time, please, for Hans. Round of applause. Jai Shriman Narayana.
Jai Shriman Narayana.
Hans, namaste.
Namaste.
And thank you once again, Hans. That was an amazing talk. I've enjoyed all of your talks over the years. I also want to thank you for keeping the Nordic spirit alive. It is an honor for all of us here to have you as a true friender.